Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Bearable Bull here. And I got this aggressively average content for you today. As damn do I have something powerful to cover today. David Schwartz, the notorious Ripple CTO, has changed his banner. And he has a cryptic message for all of us to read into. First and foremost, let me give you all some context. David Schwartz, at the peak of the last XRP price rise, when XRP reached approximately $2, told us to take profits if we have large sums of wealth and life-changing money. Most of us didn't. I did know that was going to be the local top at the time for XRP, but I did not expect XRP to not go higher later on into the year. So needless to say, when David Schwartz tweets out important things like this, we all better pay attention. Here in the banner it states, when a scrappy financial startup takes on a web of corruption and betrayal to bring instant payments to the masses, they learn that the cost of disrupting the status quo is higher than they could have ever imagined, forcing them to decide between their vision and their survival. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go into this very quickly because I see a lot of people acting very paranoid on Twitter. First and foremost, to remind all of you, just the other day, Stu Algorand, Ripple's general counsel, stated the SEC has lost 4 of the last 5 cases in the Supreme Court. And now, the literal day after, David Schwartz puts out something like this. Needless to say, every single one of you needs to be on your toes, because what this does guarantee, in my personal opinion, is that something massive is brewing when it comes to this Ripple case. This Ripple case in about a month is going to have some major decisions being made by the judge. We've been sitting around waiting, wondering what the judge is going to decide and what rulings are going to come out. Is a settlement possible? Gary's gonna have the heat turned up on him. He's been making more and more enforcement actions and getting settlements from exchanges. And here, what's important to try and decipher from David Schwartz's post is deciding between Ripple's vision and Ripple's survival. You see, I don't really believe this is a negative post. On the contrary, I believe that Ripple is in a position of power. They have enough evidence on their side, but the one thing that would be most frustrating is to see Ripple's case get delayed, go to the Supreme Court, have utility not ramp up, and have the price continue to be suppressed through another bull market. Like Jungle Link said, I don't want to hear shit about the Supreme Court unless the secondary market for XRP is freed. Then I don't care. You see, I remember a couple months ago when Charles Hoskinson was up in arms because he had heard a rumor of a potential Ripple settlement, and while it did not happen in the specific date that he called for, I think his rumors of Ripple potentially settling with conditions that do not help the crypto industry is what he was talking about. That is probably the rumor that he heard. And let me tell you all something right now. Ripple's vision, in my personal opinion, is massive. Brad Garlinghouse stated he wants to fight for the whole industry. Stu Algorand brought up the Supreme Court as well, projecting that Ripple wants to save the whole industry. But now I believe Ripple might have to choose between the whole industry and their vision and their own survival. I'm a big believer that Ripple needs to choose their own survival. The crypto industry, in my personal opinion, does not deserve the benefit of having Ripple suffer on their behalf, when in the meantime, exchanges are getting sued left and right. The SEC does not care about good actors. So I have a question. Why the hell don't you relist XRP on all your exchanges? Since clearly the SEC does not give a literal fuck about compliance. That would be the ultimate sign of unity within the crypto industry. Maxis, exchanges, and XRP all coming together, sticking their middle fingers in the air right at Gary and saying fuck the SEC. Oh, but that can't happen, can it? We lose volume. We lose on and off ramps. We lose trading pairs in the United States. And for what? For the SEC to still go out and sue these exchanges anyway. Why is XRP not being relisted? I want to know. Probably has to do with the fact that crypto tribalism is that bad. But regardless, ladies and gentlemen, that's my hypothesis. I think a major decision is about to be made in this Ripple case, and I think they might be about to choose their own survival over the entire industry. And if they do, I'm 100% okay with it. Let everyone else go through what we went through. Because all that'll mean for me is that I'll have bank money from XRP, and I'll be able to buy these tokens that are being sued on the low. You see, guys, what's actually so interesting about everything that's going on is that the SEC, they knew that FTX was extremely corrupt. They know who the bad actors in the industry are, but they're letting them collapse on purpose so that they have a reason, they have an excuse to rein in crypto. You don't believe me? It's still true. Look at what exchanges they ended up suing. They ended up suing Kraken, Nexo, and other good players. What stable coins are they coming after? USDC. Why is Tether not being investigated and sued? Why is the SEC holding off on Tether? Your bet is as good as mine. But here, please listen to Wendy O break down exactly how corrupt the SEC is.
This is proof the government knew. Gary knew, the CFTC, the SEC, other three-letter agencies, they all knew. They all knew there were problems, and they did nothing to protect you. Why didn't they do anything to protect you? Because they wanted to wait for all this crap to implode, hurt retail, and then say, we need to punish you. So they're going to continue to push the narrative that you're too stupid to manage your money. This is what these three-letter agencies are doing. They use this as a fear tactic, when in reality, if they would have had their laws set up and guidance given, we wouldn't have had the crypto contagion. And if we did, it wouldn't have been that bad. And don't you also find it really funny and ironic that they keep going after Binance? All bad things about Binance, but never FTX, never Celsius, never Voyager, never Three Arrows Capital, never BlockFi. None of these companies make it make sense.
Oh, I can easily make it make sense. Retail investors are always supposed to lose. Period. End of discussion. And in the same breath, I think Cameron Winklevoss of the Winklevoss twins said it best. My working thesis at the moment is that the next bull run is going to start in the East. It will be a humbling reminder that crypto is a global asset class and that the West, really the United States, only ever had two options. Embrace it or be left behind. It cannot be stopped, and this is something I've always stressed. Any government that doesn't offer clear rules and sincere guidance will be left in the dust, and quickly. This will mean missing out on the greatest period of growth since the rise of the commercial internet. And it will mean missing out on shaping and being a foundational part of the future of financial infrastructure in this world and beyond. Then CZ from Binance also stated, start in the Middle East ? Ladies and gentlemen, let me make something very clear to all of you. The BRICS nations are going to be at the heart of crypto and bringing rise to power to the digital asset space. This is the eastern part of the world, and look at all the individuals and people looking to join the BRICS nations. Not the United States, not Mexico, not Canada, not Europe, but all of Asia, parts of Africa, in the biggest countries in South America. The reason this is happening is because the US has had a monopoly on the world's reserve currency for a long time. They've had the monopoly of the world's military. They've had the monopoly of being the world bully. They've had a monopoly on being able to sanction people in and out of the financial system. You see, the eastern part of the world, the Asian part of the world, I believe is going to benefit most from the demise of the US dollar. Russia, China, India, numerous nations are going to rise. Africa will rise, as the US will be regressing down to the mean. And all this means for everyone watching at home is that regardless of what's going on in American politics and how tribal the crypto space is going to be becoming very soon, we have to understand that the world will not wait for America. They've probably waited for long enough. They're watching how hostile the SEC has been towards their retail. But Hong Kong is beginning to open up retail trading again. Whenever retail is being given the green light to invest from these nations, that's because a bull run's about to happen, and retail is going to be exit liquidity. You know what I think? I think the United States is dragging their feet on regulation so that Asia can experience the full-fledged bull run. And then, when all of that is said and done, American retail investors will be able to invest and there will be laws and clarity. But then American retail investors will be used as exit liquidity for Asia and the rest of the world. You don't believe me? But that's probably exactly what's going to happen. The Central Bank of Iran is opening a new center for currency exchange in gold. Iran's government recently started selling gold coin certificates to raise cash. Russia and Iran are working together on a gold-backed stablecoin. The BRICS nations are a coalition of nations going up against the United States monopoly on the world stage. And in my opinion, unfortunately, I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win because the US dollar as the world's reserve currency is done for. And you don't have to believe me. Just listen to Charlie Munger say it too.
The safe assumption for an investor is that over the next 100 years, the currency is going to zero. That's my working hypothesis.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, what I've learned is that when the smartest billionaires on the planet are letting us know what the future holds, you listen so that you can stack your pennies next to the billionaires' dollars and do your absolute best to make as much money alongside their money. See, part of the reason the Western world is going to fail to the Eastern world in the immediate future is because countries like Canada have gone from freedom to destroying protesters financially. They destroyed people's bank accounts, froze people's bank accounts because they dared to oppose their government. In the United States, on the international scale, we sanction countries like Iran, like Russia, and now we are on the brink of the worst case scenario. Treaties are being dismantled left and right. Escalations are starting on the world stage. The mobilization of the worst case scenario is on standby. And if you guys remember the book The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio, currency wars eventually turn into actual ones. We're having a financial and currency war right now with Russia. And God forbid it goes any further. I've always been a big believer that XRP might be used in some way, shape, or form to prevent World War III. It could be the neutral bridge asset to replace the US dollar as the world's reserve currency, to balance the scales. But what I'll say to all of you right now is, the only thing we could do is pray. and position our chess pieces in place in the best way to where we know we'll come out on top. That's all we can do. And for those of you sitting at home, just know I appreciate every single one of you. And I am cautiously optimistic that we won't go there. Now, ladies and gentlemen, to cap off this video for today, I do have a brief bull run warning for all of you, and that is Algorand, one of my favorite and larger holdings in my portfolio. I usually post a lot of higher risk cryptos on my OnlyFans, but considering Algo has such high quality fundamentals and such an immaculate entry point, I'm willing to tell all of you on my channel publicly of how great an opportunity this is right now. I believe the bottom was right here at 16 cents. And where we at now at 26 isn't even double of that low. I would highly recommend accumulating as much as you can before it explodes. And if you don't have any already, you should definitely get some. Now, as always, that is not financial advice and I am not a financial advisor. But you should still follow it anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Bearable Bull here. Thanks for tuning in. As always, I appreciate every single one of you. Now I'll be back tomorrow with another video.
Why do I hold XRP? Because Ripple's the chosen one to lead the new global digital payment system, and they use XRP. In 2013, the Federal Reserve began looking for faster payments options. 2 years later, an action plan was born and a federal payments task force was created. It included one company focused on crypto, Ripple. In 2014, the World Bank and Better Than Cash Alliance, which includes the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Clinton Global Initiative, and the governments of 32 countries, put out a report called The Opportunities of Digitizing Payments. 1 year later, the Better Than Cash Alliance featured one crypto company on their website, Ripple. Today, Better Than Cash Alliance and all other UN initiatives are focused on a single agenda, the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030. You can see the SDGs logo on Bill Gates' lapel, world-leading companies, the Better Than Cash Alliance website, and on the UN's official exchange, Exchange. What crypto is Exchange officially utilizing for their carbon credit solution? XRP. The world will move to a new international standard for exchanging electronic messages between financial institutions by 2025 called ISO 20022. Who was the first ISO 20022 member focused on distributed ledger technology? Ripple. Who's partnered with over 300 financial institutions, including Bank of America, American Express, PNC, Santander, SBI, HSBC, Standard Chartered Bank, Bank of England, India, Singapore, Scotland, Australia, and Indonesia, the largest banks in Japan, Canada, Egypt, the Middle East, United Arab Emirates, Thailand, Morocco, Bhutan, South Korea, Brazil, and Latin America? Ripple. Who is a former employee overseeing the Federal Reserve? Ripple. A former employee overseeing the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock's digital asset division? Ripple. Leading Australia's CBDC effort? Ripple. Who hired a former Treasury of the United States? Ripple. 2 former Federal Reserve attorneys to their board? Ripple. 2 former Clinton and Obama advisors? Former Minister of Defense and Economics of Germany? Former business director at Swift? Former Swift board member? Former CFO of PayPal? Former head of the DTCC? Former chief business officer at Uber? Former VP of Amazon and former SEC chair on their legal team? Ripple. Who's a member of the Digital Pound Foundation, Digital Dollar Project, Digital Euro Association, Mojaloop, IMF's high-level advisory board on fintech, Hyperledger Blockchain Consortium, Open Payments Coalition, Faster Payments Council, Global Payments Steering Group, Cross-Border Working Group, International Association for Trusted Blockchain Applications, Crypto Climate Accord, University Blockchain Initiative, World Wide Web Consortium, and a featured partner of the World Economic Forum with 3 members of their team directly listed on the WF website? Ripple. Now, does Ripple and XRP sound like they're going to disappear, or do they sound like they're part of a much bigger plan? You decide.